A weekend filled with border battles. Stay tuned to hear how the Saints rose up.
Hello, and welcome to SaintsCenter. I'm Micah McInnes.
And I'm Neil Viersba. Let's hear how the track team did over in Superior this past weekend.
Men's track and field had a super successful meet over in Superior, Wisconsin. Jacob Gallagher set a program record and won in the 5,000-meter run. Kevin Wagner set a program record and won in the 60-meter hurdles. Kenneth Jenkins set a program record and won the 200-meter hurdles. And lastly, Easton Foss won the 3,000-meter run for the Saints. Women's track and field also had success over in Superior, with Nicole Christensen setting a program record and winning in the high jump. Emily Lundgren won the 600-meter dash for the fourth straight week. Lastly, Jacqueline Kaplan, Sammy Argier, and Jordan Johnson all finished second in their events, along with the Saints 4x400 relay team.
This past weekend, both the men and women's tennis teams unfortunately had hard losses against St. Olaf. The men lost 2-7 and the women 3-6. The men's tennis team went on to face Carleton College and also had a difficult loss with a final score of 1-8. The men's and women's Nordic ski team competed in the Central Collegiate Ski Association Championship this past weekend in Minneapolis. Day one of CCSA Championship, Kelsey Dickinson led the Scholastica women, finishing in 11th place in the Mass Start Classic. Overall, the women's team placed third on Saturday and fourth on Sunday out of the 7 teams that were racing. The men's team placed fourth out of 6 on both days of the Central Collegiate Ski Association Championship. Reitler Hodgert displayed a strong performance on Saturday, placing 8th in the ski race, and continued to do well yet again on Sunday, finishing in 9th place.
Women's basketball had a successful first 2 quarters against Superior here in Duluth this past weekend, but couldn't quite hold on as they fell to the Yellow Jackets 48-65. The top performers for the Saints were Danica Shellbach with 10 points. Shellbach shot 100% from the field against Superior.
Alrighty guys, how exciting! We just got done with overtime here at the Rife Gymnasium. Here with me is senior captain Andrew Laughlin. Andrew, how was that game for you guys?
It was a really good effort by the whole team. Everybody contributed today. We were down by 20 halfway through the second half, but we told our guys, never stop battling, never quit. We're playing for our family today, our alumni weekend, so we just gave it everything we had, and hey, we're a good enough team to come back from any deficit. So we pulled it out today. It was a great team win for us.
You guys now have clinched #1 seed in the conference with this game, correct?
Not quite yet. Northwestern's a half game ahead of us, so depending on how they do, they're our last game of the season here at home on senior night, so we just got to keep battling, take it one game at a time, and we control our own destiny. If we win out, we get that #1 seed and have home court for the playoffs. That's our goal right now.
Crazy was the least thing to say here. We had 5 people foul out, went in overtime, border battle on top of it all. Congratulations, you guys, and good luck to the rest of your season.
Thank you so much.
The women's hockey team was on the road this past weekend as they faced Concordia University. Friday night, the Saints took the first game of the series between the two with a 1-0 win. Kennedy Hughes scored 12 minutes into the first period with the only goal of the game for both teams. Lindsay Hartfield had 25 saves in net, securing her first shutout of the season. Saturday, the Saints clinched a playoff spot when they tied with Concordia University with a final score of 1-1. Taylor Guzzo scored the lone goal for the Saints in the first period. The Saints just wrapped up their weekend series with #1 ranked St. Norbert. On Friday, the Saints got things going early, 17 seconds into the game, when Keegan Bruce found the net to make it 1-0. St. Norbert in the second period would score 3 unanswered goals to make it 3-1, but in the third period, Stephen Fee would make it 3-2 when he scored with about a minute left to play. That was your final score as St. Norbert picked up Game 1. On Saturday, it was a different result this time as they tied 2-2. Derek Sutliff would score the game-tying goal in the second period. That's it for me here at the Mars Lakesview Arena. Back to you guys. And now here's a segment with Chris.
Chris, the pro. Deucer. Have you ever wanted something but couldn't get it? That's what happened to the women's hockey team when they wanted to play hockey, but couldn't because they didn't have a full roster. So, I went to the scariest person on earth, Jackie McMillan, to figure out the inside scoop. Okay. Thanks for having me. Okay, well anyway, so what happened to the team last month?
Well, we had the situation where we had this, what I thought was a great backup goalie. But we felt like Lindsay was stepping ahead of her this year, and so we were playing Lindsay a lot more. And apparently that wasn't good enough for her, and we were in practice the day before the semester started, and she was there, and all of a sudden she was not there. So we were down to one goalie the day before school started.
Well, wait, so you need two goalies to play a game, is that right?
Yeah, you have to have two goalies dressed at the start of every game.
So what did you do then?
I don't know. My mind was thinking pretty quickly at that point in time, and I thought, oh, we had a pretty good women's soccer goalie who was from Alaska, so I decided to call up Dave Riles and say, hey, has Kelsey ever played hockey before? Within a matter of probably an hour, I had talked to her, and she said to me, whatever you need, I'll be willing to do whatever. And at that point in time, it was done.
What did you think when you got a text from Dave?
Honestly, I thought he was joking at first because Dave sometimes will tell me, hey, we might need someone to fill in for like one of his like adult league kind of games. So I thought that's what it was. And so when I asked for who and he said CSS, I kind of had to like wait a minute, and I called him and I was like, do you really think I can do this, Dave? And he said, you know what, it doesn't hurt to try. So I said, I'll give it a shot and see where it takes me.
When she first got on the ice, what did you women think?
Is mostly just thankful that she came. She got the call on a Monday night and showed up at our 8 a.m. practice the next day. So she's just the real MVP for everything. And she's done good, and she has gone to skating lessons and stuff and has taken goalie training.
What was her experience like playing hockey before she started?
From what I know, I think she said she skated in high school for a little bit and plays pond hockey for the most part, so.
What do you mean skated? Just played around
Yeah,
on the lakes?
right.
So had she ever been on a hockey rink before this?
I don't believe so.
This was her first time on an actual ice rink?
Right. Yeah.
Wow. All this talk about backups made me realize how important second-string players are. Maybe they don't always get to play, and maybe they don't always make the game-winning plays. But those that do make the game-winning plays wouldn't even be allowed to play without their backups supporting them and doing whatever else they do. Kelsey seems like an amazing Saints angel from above, because she's from Alaska, credit Todd Boucher. For SaintsCenter, I'm Chris, the pro. Do, sir.
Thanks, Chris.
And now we'll catch up with the interview that I did over at the Rife Gymnasium this past weekend. Zach Dahlman is a sophomore here at the College of St. Scholastica and also on the men's basketball team. Not only is Zach a key component to our basketball team, but he's also a lifesaver as well. So Zach, do you want to tell me how you got started with this process?
Yeah, last spring actually, I was just walking in Tower and one of my teammates asked me if I wanted to save a life. So I said, yeah, why not? Didn't think much of it. Did a little cheek swab, and that was basically that for the year. And then I got a call this past fall saying that I was a possible contender, and they would just have to do some further testing to see if it was it.
So how far along are you in this process?
I actually just finished, February 2nd was my donation. It was about 2 weeks of getting shots, going to doctor visits, missing some practice time, but yeah, basically done now, recovering.
How has that process been in terms of being a student athlete as well?
It was really tough. I mean, I know my teammates were supporting me throughout the whole thing. My coach understood if I was going to be late or if I wasn't feeling the best. But along with being a student, I missed 3 days of class in a row to go down to the cities to do the donation to get more shots. So it's pretty tough.
Speaking of basketball here, how does it feel to be a young key component? Because I know you just hit 100 points not too long ago for the season, and only being a sophomore, how does that make you feel?
I mean, just being a sophomore on the team doesn't seem like anything special now because we have 3 main freshmen that are playing and they're contributing just as much as I am, so I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Last year, though, you were still a key component as a freshman along with Joe Stark and Mark Peterson. It was you 3 last year that came in as the key freshmen. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you for being a lifesaver.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, you've heard Zach's story about he was a lifesaver, and now it's your turn. You can find out how to be a lifesaver if you just visit www.bethematch.org. It just takes a simple cheek swab, some information, and you can be a lifesaver as well. Alrighty, guys. Well, there you have it for this week's episode of SaintsCenter. I'm Micah McGinnis.
And I'm Neil Viersba.
Thanks for watching.
And go Saints.